Welcome back to our program. Thank you for staying right here with us. I'm still talking with Mr. C. Bernard, who is the MD of IBHR Technologies. Now, when we took a break, you were telling me and giving me figures about the US, and I was just wanting to elaborate a little more on that point, Bernard.
Yeah, so I think I did speak about the number of patients who actually acquired infection, which they did not have before.
And the deaths.
And the deaths when they come into hospital. Now, also, in the US, there are over 200,000 deaths that happen every year because of some preventable medical error. They could have actually prevented it, but they did not. Now, these numbers have, quite a bit of significance, because now if I take US, I think is like what I think it is possibly one fourth the size of our country, so now extrapolate that and look at our country, which is 1.2 x billion people. The challenges that we have in our country, rural, urban, capability of people and infrastructure and everything else. So I would not go to the extent of extrapolating the numbers, but I think it's a good indication to say the kind of issues that we may possibly have, right, in terms of safety to patients.
But why don't we have numbers, Bernard? How come we have no actual figures to talk about?
So in the first place, we did discuss about the fact that hospitals don't even get registered. There's no authority which basically gets all those numbers in place.
Fair enough, yes.
So there's no number which is getting tracked. There's no number which is getting reported on. So hence we don't have numbers. So it's as simple as that. But we may have issues. We may talk about the kind of number of patients we deal with compared. So the number of patients that a doctor handles or a hospital manages, and we may have challenges there. But still, I don't think we have the culture of tracking, monitoring, right? And that's exactly, Jenifer, where we're trying to play a role. How do you help organizations to bring about the change in culture?
So tell me then, your IBHR Technologies, what exactly? So you provide what, technology solutions to the hospitals? Is that the way it works for you?
Okay, so we do more than that, but we do that using technology. So for example, let's say for argument's sake, there are 90,000 hospitals in the country, right? And it's in both the rural as well as urban areas, right? Now, most of the hospitals, 90% plus of hospitals, are owned by clinicians or surgeons who practice, right? And they're doing a good job, right? They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, we don't have evolved processes and practices and things that they need to be doing, because there are various grades of people, various capabilities of all of the stuff. It could be right from the lift person to the nursing staff and so on and so forth. We have challenges of not having the right number of people and and all that kind of thing. So what we have done is we have actually defined, along with we work and partner with other organizations. With them, we have defined what should you be doing, what should be your policies, what should your procedures be, right from admission to discharge. What should your policy be on fumigating your operation theatre? What should be your policy on cleanliness, right, or procedures that you use for cleanliness? So we have actually evolved all that, these procedures, and then said, if you're going to follow this, how are you going to monitor it? How are you going to document it, right? And we've aligned this to the standards defined by NABH.
Right. So your eventual goal, as far as I understand it, is that patients' safety care should in fact be a priority, and therefore you are affording some kind of solutions to these hospitals to provide that care. Am I understanding it right?
Correct. So our view is, if you have to consistently provide a certain quality of care, which results in safe patient care, there have to be processes that people need to be aware of. You need to have the ability to monitor if people are actually adhering to those processes, evaluate where you are, look at the outcome, and then think about improvements that you may actually bring about, which will improve from wherever you are. And by doing such, you will have a continuously improving mechanism, process, right, which you're going to improve and which will result into better quality of care.
But tell me, Bernard, do the hospitals want to listen to somebody like you? Are they willing to? Are they receptive? How many customers do you have then in that case?
We work with over 200 customers now.
Really?
Yeah. So we have a mixed experience, but I think that we need to understand there's another important thing that's happening in the country, and that's about the Insurance Regulatory Authority, right?
Medical
IRDAI,
insurance, you're talking.
insurance regulatory authorities have now made it mandatory for hospitals to actually get a quality certification from NABH, right? And they have a deadline set, and they're saying that unless and until hospitals get the certification, they may not be on an insurance panel. So hospitals now are required to get a certification to be on the insurance panel. So which actually is a good thing, because there's a reason why people should do something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So otherwise, why would anybody want to do anything because it's difficult? You have to basically, it is an effort. It's an effort. So, and when you struggle with challenges, you may not want to kind of put in that kind of extra effort, right? Because there's also possibly some additional costs that you may have to incur. So because there is this need, a requirement from the insurance regulatory authorities. So there are over 33,000 hospitals, right, in the country who actually are in part of insurance panel. So at least these 33,000 hospitals are now are required or mandated to actually get the certification.
So that's good. That means when I get that insurance, I can go to specific hospitals that have already passed the standards that are necessary.
Correct. So you as well. Somebody as I would have said, you as a patient, but I would say somebody as a patient, when they actually go to a hospital and when they see the NABH certification, they at least know that this hospital has been through a process of defining standards, defining procedures. They have a mechanism through which they are monitoring how those procedures are working, and they're possibly monitoring their outcome, and they're on a continuous improvement cycle. So which means, they know that it's a safe environment.
Right. So is it time then for people, by and large, to be made aware of this whole system? Because one doesn't know that. Your insurance company gives you a list of hospitals, and you presume that, okay, these are fine.
Yeah, so I think hospitals are aware now, because they have to comply, and right from the government to insurance companies, I think, have been continuously writing to them saying, and there's a deadline of June, July 2018. So there's a lot of awareness with hospitals.
Right.
I don't really think there's enough happening in our country where patients are being made aware.
Right. I'm going to come back on the next segment, and we're going to specifically talk about that. It's time for another very short break, but this is getting really very interesting, so please stay right there with us.